Yeah, what do you do? Because you said you work with or for podcast.
So I work for a marketing agency.
Mhm.
It's based in the UAE, and they also have a media production house, and that's where they do like the podcasts. It's like
Okay.
studio.
Yeah.
Also, they do promotional videos for like big companies like BMW, Volkswagen,
Oh,
John's the Grocer,
okay.
etc.
What's the company called? Sorry.
Trends Agency,
Okay.
and the podcast is called Trends Podcast.
Trains podcast.
So Trends Podcast is like a platform, and we're gonna have multiple series in the platform. So currently
Okay.
we have the Investment School podcast,
Okay.
and this one we have founders of businesses to discuss their entrepreneurial journey, like how they started, where they graduated, where they got the idea for the company, the challenges that they faced, their
So
successes,
you want,
their
like
failures.
the whole profile, whole
Yeah.
backstory, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything. Okay, that's really cool.
Yes.
That's really cool. And what's your job amongst all of that? What is it that you specifically?
I manage like sponsorships
Okay.
for the podcasts,
Yeah.
and also I
Like,
bring guests.
You're reaching out.
Yeah,
reaching out to
exactly.
people. Okay.
Reaching
Yeah.
out to people, founders, entrepreneurs, CEOs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I reach out to them, and we select the ones that we think have successful
Okay.
stories.
So do you have set criteria?
The only criteria is a success story.
Okay.
Like the
Okay.
company can be very small,
Yeah.
and for example, they got a fund of $50 million. We can bring them, even if they have like 5 employees.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay. Yeah. It's not done on like the value of the company. It's just essentially how they're gonna look on the podcast, almost. I
Yeah.
guess. So it's looking at basically just helping people financially, like in terms of business. Is that what the podcast is for? You're sort of saying there's chapters. What are the different chapters going to be?
Like give us like the story from the beginning, like
Yeah.
the intro, like how they started, where they graduated.
Mm.
They normally have like multiple businesses that failed, so they talk about
course.
this as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Talk about that business that actually succeeded.
Yeah. So is the podcast, is it directed at people who are looking to start a business? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Business enthusiasts, basically.
cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this for?
I would say like 11 months, almost a year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you like it?
Yeah.
Enough to that you're now on a podcast.
Yeah.
Is it
I
weird now
always
being on
wanted
this
to
side of
do
it?
this. Yeah. Sorry?
Is it weird now being on this side of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get actually to feel what it's like to actually,
Yeah.
being
Maybe that's going to
hosted.
help you in your job.
Yeah.
Who knows? Now you got a bit more experience at the other side of the cameras.
Yeah, definitely. Because
And the
I have
microphone.
meetings with people, and they keep asking me questions about the podcast. Is there a script?
Okay.
When
yeah.
this can take place and all that stuff. How
Yeah.
the equipment, and that's a little bit too technical because I have a colleague that actually like manages these like details or provides them with the right answers to these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always someone. I guess is it a large company that you're working for?
No, it's a small agency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like around 20 employees,
Okay.
I think.
What's your goal with that? Just having fun at the moment.
The goal, in the company or
For yourself within the company.
to grow. For me right now, I just want to land big sponsors.
Mhm.
We've landed one, which is the number one telecommunication company in the UAE.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that gives me a lot of
Yeah.
satisfaction,
Yeah.
and I felt like I have achieved something.
That's really
so
cool.
I want more of this.
And I guess now that's part of your portfolio. You've managed
Yeah.
to do that now.
yeah,
You've managed to
exactly.
do that now. Yeah, that's cool. Have you ever thought about wanting to do your own podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually planning to do that. And
Yeah.
I'm looking for people, because I want to start it as a video call.
Mm.
Because I think Alex Hormozy, he's doing like podcasts, like video calls. I don't know if he's using Zoom or something like that,
Yeah.
but he gets a lot of viewership for that.
Yeah.
So I think if that can be possible, then I can do it as well, as a start.
That's cool. Yeah.
And afterwards, I'll maybe buy, some mic,
Yeah.
pack
and go for
everything.
it.
And,
Yeah. I mean, if you're already starting to build like these connections now with some of these companies, a lot of the time it's it's not what you know, it's who you know. So, you're starting to build these connections now. If you keep in touch with some of these people, when you eventually go and do your own thing, you're gonna have successful people and like-minded people ready to come on.
Exactly, this is the
Yeah, you
best
can
part about sales.
Yeah, hit the ground running.
Yeah, relationship building. You still have those emails. You still have those connections.
Yeah.
So you can just in the future, you want to start your own thing. You can just reach out to them.
Yeah.
Hey, this is me.
Yeah.
Remember, we've had a meeting before.
Yeah.
You know,
Trying to start my own thing now, and hopefully they can be supportive and.
Yeah, that's gonna give a higher response rate
Mm-hmm.
because we've already engaged with these people.
And these are the type of people who have started their own thing, so they understand where you're coming from with that. Right, I've got a new idea. I'm going to try and start doing something else. What's holding you back at the moment?
At the moment, the availability and enthusiasm of the people that I knew that actually can keep a good conversation and talk about interesting stuff. But I think they're not that excited. So I'm looking for someone who's actually excited to talk, can dedicate
bring some energy.
Can dedicate an hour a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for right now, and we can discuss anything basically.
Are you going to have some sort of niche, though? Even though obviously you can have the ability to discuss anything. Do you reckon a niche is, because that's sort of something we picked up on, is if you want to do everything, it becomes quite hard. You have to almost be a personality, whether you're a comedian or, so, and that way people are willing to just listen to you talk shit about anything.
Yeah.
When you're doing something sort of like this, where you don't already have a big following, you're just doing this to start with, it might be a little bit better to choose a niche to head into.
Yeah, to attract that niche or
so people know
targeted audience.
People know exactly. People know what they're getting into.
For me, I want to do in the beginning just to see where I would fit.
Okay, yeah. You want to test the water first.
Yeah, talk about all kinds of things and see which topic that I mostly talk about. But I think that would be personal development and career development. Yeah.
I guess you are gonna be in somewhat of a pool of people if you're using past clients, if you were. I guess you're gonna be somewhat directed into that sort of genre.
Yeah, that's actually B2B. I don't want to dive deeper in that. Since I don't want to talk about business, and I might be talking about it some point later, but in the beginning I want to talk about personal development.
Okay.
And psychology, habits, stuff like that. Yeah. And afterwards I think it would if that works out very well, I will make series, start different series.
Yeah. Tied to them, and then
that's actually what we're working on in the company.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you say you're interested in psychology?
General psychology, not in depth.
Yeah. Not to be a psychologist, but to have a somewhat of a good understanding.
Yeah,
of
more on the behavior aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. I'm the same. I like to read a little bit, a bit of philosophy, but only to sort of keep in tune with to have it, like you say, a soft understanding, a baseline understanding.
Yeah.
Especially if you're someone who's constantly wondering why you act a certain way or do a certain thing, it's better to know, this is just a coping mechanism. This is just a normal human response to something.
Yeah.
I'm overstimulated, and I think a lot of people don't understand these things, so they just label it as frustration.
Yep.
But if you understand it, it's much easier to deal with it. So much easier to deal with it. And it's interesting.
Yeah, it's very
it's fucking interesting, dude.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Yeah, dude.
I mean, it's good to be jack of all trades if you're someone who wants to start a podcast and, plan to make multiple series. So if you know a little bit of psychology, a little bit of finance, a little bit of investment, a little bit of that, you can make multiple series. About each topic, so you can be also a great host.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So. I think touching on that, that is exactly it. That's the other thing. It doesn't only allow you to understand yourself better, but also other people.
As well.
Yeah, exactly. Once you understand that someone is that type of person, it makes it much easier. When I finally learned what narcissism was and what a narcissist was, and then you sort of realize, you sort of maybe look at some of your friends and you go, "Oh, that's." That you're a narcissist, but because of that, I can now work with that easier, because instead of just getting instantly frustrated to choose a obvious trait of a narcissist, like, sort of like reverting conversation constantly back towards themselves and keeping the attention on themselves.
Exactly.
Now, seeing that makes it much easier, because instead of me just sort of like going, oh, you're just a fucking attention whore, like, that's all you want. You just want people looking at you and doing that.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, this is your personality. This is what you have to do to be comfortable. Yeah. And then it's easier to just go with it.
Yeah, I think it's all about listening to understand rather than listening to reply. There's a big difference.
A huge difference. People who listen to reply usually want to win a conversation. But if you're going out to win a conversation, then you might as well just stop having the conversation, because you're not going to take any information that they're going to give you.
Yeah.
You just have to go in, not that you're both on the fence, but just understand when you're having a debate. When you see politicians having a debate, they're not trying to convince each other to come over to the other party.
Yeah.
You just have to debate the details. That's all it needs to be, and try not to get too emotional. Obviously, we can't help that. Humans are dividedly emotional, but I think emotions usually get in the way. Never make a decision in high anger. You never want to propose to someone during sex, because like, if you're in those extreme emotions, like, a lot of people say things they don't want to say in arguments, or like they say, oh, you said this, and you go, oh, did I? And it's just because it's this fight or flight response when you get emotional, when you're angry, and you're just saying whatever first comes into your brain. Yeah. So you have to be able to keep it. You need to be able to plateau emotions, and like you say,
it's gotta be like the right balance.
Exactly.
If it's too high emotions, it's gonna affect it.
Yeah.
If it's very low,
you're not reacting enough, and then you get these people who get used all the time. Like, you feel like, oh, no one ever does anything for me, but I'm constantly doing this, I'm constantly doing that for them. That's the low end of the extreme, is just people just sapping your energy from you. Yeah. You have to be, like you say, you have to find that balance. Yeah. Love psychology, man.
And it's funny, like, some people, like, they tell their story, like, you tell your story to someone for them to understand your situation, or you discuss an idea or something like that. And then when they respond, they say, I.
Yes.
They start telling their own story.
Yeah. But going back to what we said about, that was something I used to pick up on as well a lot. And then it would instantly turn me off. Like, I would just be like, right, okay, well, now they're just going to give me their version of their problems or their story. I can't remember which psychologist was saying I was listening to, was saying that's like a really just human response, is if they are trying to give their own story, that's their way of trying to connect with what you're saying. That's their way of saying, oh, I know what you've been through. Like, I can feel what you're trying to tell me. That's them trying to say, I get you, rather than just going, oh, now it's my turn. I can one up you. Some people do. So don't get me wrong. Some people do. Like, that would be a narcissistic trait. But some people genuinely just say, oh, I've been through this. So then it's almost in their head, you now feel more comfortable telling me because I understand where you're coming from. That helps. Knowing that helps. But people, sometimes people just want you to listen. People try to help too much sometimes. Like, you go to someone to talk about a problem or something, and like you said, they say I, and they try and say, oh, well, maybe have you tried this? Can you do this? Sometimes you just need to listen. They might be asking questions, they might be saying these things, but they don't. When people are in that state of wanting to talk, they're just trying to get something out. They don't need you to constantly try and help them. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And it's very fascinating because it's just one simple phrase like that, makes a big difference. Like, the one you said, like, I totally understand where you come from, rather than just going straight to the point.
Yeah. I think that's something I would practice, is if I did have a friend who was going through something, I was telling, you're sat in the car and they're going through something, is every time you want to almost interject to say, oh, well, maybe, it's not too bad, trying to give a bit of positivity, silence that and just go, right, just keep listening. And then suddenly, before you know it, they're talking about something and almost saying what you thought you were going to say. And then they're already going through it. Listening is, it's something that people don't practice enough, is listening. They always feel like they need a response, which 100% dilutes conversation. 100% dilutes conversation.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's a skill that's, often overlooked.
Yeah, 100%. I guess it's not a skill that's taught in schools,
Yeah.
It's the same as, it's not something, I guess, I don't really know how you'd go about teaching how to listen properly. But I guess the only way you can practice it if you're happy to practice it yourself.
Exactly.
That's sort of like the only way like to do it. And a lot of people almost, I think, because there's always like something going on, and people can't always bring something that was spoken about 10 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago and be able to interject into the conversation of which you're having now.
Yeah.
I think that's really good for podcasts, like why podcasting is so good, because you're thinking about nothing else. You haven't got a phone in front of you, you haven't got your laptop in front of you, we're only listening to each other.
Exactly.
Our entire focus is on that, and it's like, because of the cameras and the microphones, you almost then can't think about other stuff going on in the background of life.
Yep.
You can only be, because this makes it almost contained.
It's like you get lost in the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, even though you're being contained by these things, 45 minutes, an hour and a half goes by, and you forgot they were even there. Which is really weird, but I haven't found that anywhere else but in podcasting. It's really fucking cool. It's really fucking cool. So maybe, if more people podcasted, they'd be better listeners. Maybe. Yeah. Would you say you're a good listener?
Me, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if the person, like, if you're talking to someone who's not very interesting, or they talk about something, that doesn't make sense, something negative, something like that, you can't be invested in listening to the person.
Yes.
So the person might think you're not a good listener, but you actually are, but you are a good listener with the right people.
With the right people. Maybe that's something about being a good listener, is that you can listen to anyone.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another thing to practice, is being, even if you're not interested in the conversation, is still listening and responding anyway.
Yeah.
And just trying to involve yourself as much as possible. I guess that's why, this sort of thing is so good. Because I guess not many people that I know or I've experienced really have these complex conversations. It's like back at home when, like, I have these sort of conversations with my mates all the time. Really complex conversations. We don't have much information, but we like to delve in and we go through it, and we'll sit there for an hour. And when we meet other people, especially when my friends are going to uni, that sort of thing, and we're meeting a lot of new people, and we start having these conversations, a lot of like friendship groups be like, oh geez, you guys are like going in like deep, like, do you always do this? And we're like, this is like a normal thing. Like, we could be on the way to the cinema in the car and we're talking about God knows what. So I don't think many people these days actually practice complex conversation, which then has an effect on their listening capabilities, because most people can talk. Most people can talk, but yeah, it's like we said, it's the listening part, listening and responding, but not always responding. Or maybe if there is a need to respond, more so confirmation of what they're saying rather than trying to interject your part.
Exactly.
Like now it's like you're listening to me say this, and you're not like then going, oh but have you thought about this, and trying to interject into that. I think maybe some people just don't really give a fuck, but it'd be nice if they did.
Yeah, it would be really great.
Yeah,
that's why I think they should start like doing their own podcasts, or
it'd be cool. Yeah,
it could also be the media.
That's true. I guess, with media, everything is a response. And usually not the right response.
Yeah, because usually people like talk about their favorite movies. Have you seen this reel? Yeah. Stuff like that.
And that's it.
So it comes in the way.
Yeah.
But even though, like, the interesting part that you mentioned, that you guys, exchange conversations, you go in depth, but you don't have deep knowledge about these topics. Mm-hmm. The good thing about this, I think, is that you know some ideas that your friend doesn't know, and your friend knows some ideas that you don't know. Exactly. So you kind of exchange and you learn from each other.
Yes.
So it's like reading a book.
Yes.
Yeah, you explore perspectives.
Yeah, man. 100%. So, like, I wanted to change. So I used to be I always used to argue for the win. And it wasn't necessarily that I needed to be right. It was more to do with credibility. It's like, if I was wrong, then I was less credible.
Yeah.
So I sort of started diving into depths of like people like Socrates and sort of the art of conversation, as it were. And I started managing to implement that on myself, and I started realizing the differences it can be if you're focusing on conversation, not getting emotional, and scrutiny. That's the biggest thing, is scrutiny. Is you can always ask questions. That's the thing. And I started doing it with my mates, and they were it was almost like I was being aggressive, but I wasn't. If I'm just asking in-depth questions, I'm just putting an idea through scrutiny, because that is the best way to see if an idea can hold up. I can't. What was what's Socrates? I think it was Socrates' quote. What makes a reliable idea? Oh, there's no way I'm gonna remember that. Okay, but essentially what he says is putting an idea through scrutiny, and that's the best way to test if it is reliable, because if it can't withstand scrutiny, you can't answer those questions. Then you cannot give that information its full value.
Exactly.
And that can be tough on friends because they're trying to tell you something. I'm going, yeah, but why? Have they really done that? Have they done this? Do you know what I mean? It's like when someone comes out with a new idea in science, they say, yeah, but have you run this test? Have you run this test?
Yeah.
Which obviously, like, if you're not all in for complex conversations, that can be a little bit tough. But after I've been doing it for a while, what was really fucking cool to see was when they would come up with something and they've got this new idea or they've seen something where before I'd be saying, yeah, but have you done this? Is this? Before I even had a chance to say anything, they've looked at me and gone, oh, by the way, I got this information from this person because they did this.
Yeah.
And then I'm a better listener because now I'm no longer interjecting to say why I put it under scrutiny. They're now doing it themselves, which it's really fucking cool to see. Really fucking cool to see.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah. So like, it's not easily done, but I didn't have to put too much effort. And you just make sure when you're having these sort of conversations, that's in the back of your mind. There's layers to a conversation. As long as everything undergoes scrutiny and it's reliable, whether that's the information from yourself or from others, I think that makes for the most valuable conversation. And people just don't practice it enough. People don't practice it enough. But I do also understand why people don't. I do understand because it can be a lot of effort. How much do you work on your own conversation abilities, or do you feel like you don't need to?
For me, I don't think that I would need to actually work. I haven't felt that I've been working on it. I just talk, I expose myself to useful stuff, useful content, read some books every now and then.
Yeah.
Sometimes just think deeply. Like you realize a lot of things when you think deeply. Sometimes these conversations, you already know them in the back of your mind, but you just didn't have the chance to talk about them.
Yeah.
But sometimes you think so deeply that, you find this idea. Yeah. It's always in the back of your mind, but you just realize it.
Yes.
It was in your head, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And you talk about it.
It's like having those sort of ideas when it finally comes together and you're like, yes, that's what I've been seeing or trying to communicate. It's kind of like is repairing a broken ship whilst it's still at sail on the open ocean. Yeah. You can't completely restart from scratch. It's there. You've just now got to put it together, and then it's going to sail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can just sit. I'm sure that you might relate, and you just invent some quote.
Yeah.
That's so relatable.
Yeah.
That you never thought of before, but it's like the thought itself is like a combination of some factors. Maybe you read this book, you watched this documentary. You had a conversation with a friend. So I think this gets combined and you just say something,
Yes. Do you ever get this and do you write them down? Do you ever write them down?
I usually post them.
Or post
if I get something that's very interesting.
Yes.
I usually post it.
Dude, if I was you, I would on your notes on your phone, every time you have one, no matter if you think it's good or bad, put it down. So I sort of do the same, and it's so the feeling of going back through it, because after maybe a year's passed, and you go back through it and you start reading through them again, and you're like, I wrote that. Do you know what I mean? I had that idea.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's really cool to see. It's really cool to see, and obviously it reminds you of ones you've had, and you go, oh yeah, do you know what? I've forgotten about that in the last 6 months. I need to work on that again.
Yeah, I totally understand. It's like what do you call it? Reflection.
Yeah.
I think it's also part of meditation. It's like when you take these walks.
Yeah.
And you start thinking about before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. You see a quote that you have written before.
Yeah.
And you reflect, oh, this is how I was. This is how I was thinking. Because maybe in the future, you might have a different mindset.
Yes.
You might disagree with the quote.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, man. To be fair, we'll try and get back to travel here, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
before we go too deep again. How long have you huh?
Oh, you want me to? those mosquitoes also were.
Mosquitoes. Are
Yeah,
they getting you?
I was trying so hard not to scratch.
Oh shit. I haven't seen any. They must like you, man.
Yeah,
They just
they
like
love
you.
my blood.
Okay. Oh man, you need to get some of the mozzie repellent. It's quite good. It works.
Yeah, I actually just forgot to use them.
Have to do your best not to itch now.
Yeah, it's fine.
How long have you been traveling for?
5 months.
5 months. Where did you start?
I started with Malaysia, and that's
Oh,
actually the very first country I traveled to. I've never been to any country in the world before.
Malaysia was the first.
Yeah,
Cool. Whereabouts are you from?
Morocco.
Morocco.
So all the way from Morocco to Malaysia.
Yeah, dude.
And I was the interesting part is that I was very scared of traveling alone.
Mm.
I couldn't even bring myself to do it in my own country. So
Yeah.
one day I just woke up and I was like, I'm tired of asking people to travel with me.
Mm.
I say like, today I'm gonna stop depending on people to actually go travel. So I'm gonna do it by myself. You know, whatever is gonna happen, fuck it.
If I'm
I don't
going.
care.
Yeah.
You know, just throw yourself in the lines then,
Yeah.
and make yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, Malaysia was the first country. Yeah.
What's Malaysia like? Because I don't really hear people going to Malaysia too often.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's great.
Georgetown and-
The thing I liked about it was the food.
The food.
They have 3 ethnicities. They have Chinese, Indian, Malaysian,
Okay.
and believe it or not, they have over 300 dishes. So literally, for 1 year, you can try something new every single day.
That's cool. That's a
Yeah.
cool way of putting it as well. Actually.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. So the food's fucking great.
Yeah, so
good.
good. Like that's the country where I had the best food in my life.
How are the people? I'm sure they're lovely.
The people are lovely. They're
Yeah.
nice.
Sort of like every other local in Southeast Asia, just always smiling and
For Malaysia, nah, I don't, not to that extent.
no.
But I think Thailand and Vietnam are the ones like with genuine people.
Mm.
Like not people that are on the street always, hey, come buy this, buy that.
Mm.
Always like people that are too salesy.
Yes.
Not
yeah,
like in Bali.
Too pushy.
In Bali, you're literally a walking ATM machine. So like people come to you like they don't directly tell you like buy from me. They say,
Yeah.
oh, where are you from? Oh, Morocco.
Right.
Oh, nice. I watch football. And you
Yeah.
talk for like 10 minutes, and at the end, oh, you know what? I wanna sell this, great price and everything.
Yeah, special price.
So it's like your first time in Bali, for example. You think,
Yeah.
oh, these guys genuinely want to be my friends,
yeah.
but they just want to sell.
They just want to, yeah.
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 So I think Vietnam and Thailand,
Mm.
the two are like, these two I think are the lands of smiles. I mean, Thailand is the land of smiles, but also
Of course.
Vietnam.
Yeah, Vietnam is so fucking cool, man.
Yeah,
The
so
people,
amazing.
the people are lush
The
Yeah,
best
man.
friends I've ever made are in Vietnam.
in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So you started off Malaysia,
Yeah.
then Thailand, I'm guessing. maybe?
Yeah, Thailand. Actually, the reason why I went to Malaysia was to apply for Thai visa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I ended up staying there for quite some time.
Yeah.
In Malaysia.
So it was good.
Yeah.
How much of Malaysia did you do?
I did like Kuala Lumpur, stayed for a few days.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's quite busy and noisy. So after
Yeah.
that, I went to Petaling Jaya.
Yeah.
It's called PJ. The locals call it PJ.
Yeah.
And from there, no, I stayed there actually the most. And I went to a trip to Malacca.
Yeah.
It has this like it's very cultural city.
Oh, okay. Many travelers?
In Malacca.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more for people who just want to chill.
Yeah.
There is like this river there. The small boats and people, and on the side of the river there is like bar next to a bar, like bars
quite
like
long.
stacked up over there. So I see a lot of like retired people sitting there and just
Oh, okay.
chilling
Yeah.
to the music and everything.
So then you came up through Thailand. How did you find Thailand? Everyone always says they love it, but what's your opinion?
My opinion, like I will put it in one phrase.
Yeah.
Thailand is the country that you leave, but it doesn't leave you. Which is why I'm going back to Thailand after Vietnam.
It's got a hold of you now. It's got a solid hold of you.
Yeah.
Did you do south north from Malaysia across the border?
In Malaysia?
Yeah, so I'm guessing you went from Malaysia to Thailand.
Yeah.
Did you just cross the border? Did you fly?
I flied.
You flew. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I flew there and
Where did you land to? In
Bangkok.
Thailand? Bangkok.
Yeah.
What did you think of Bangkok?
Uh, Bangkok is very crazy.
It's fucking mental.
Yeah, fucking mental,
Fucking
exactly.
mental.
And I don't remember feeling unhappy for like one single day while I was there in Bangkok. It's like there is a vibe to it. It's like gives you a sense of belonging.
There's energy there.
Yeah,
for
energy,
sure.
and the people are super cool. It's so nice. Just walk in the street. Just make eye contact with random strangers and they smile at you.
Yeah.
You smile back.
Yeah.
Which is not a thing in my country. So, like when I went to Thailand and people started smiling at me, like in the street, couple of strangers, I had a little bit of cultural shock.
Really?
Like people
So in
smile at
Morocco,
you.
people, if I was to be walking along the street and I saw someone and I gave them a smile, they'd be thinking, "Who's this weirdo?"
No, if you're a tourist, it's normal.
Oh, okay.
Because Moroccans sometimes they smile at tourists.
Right. Okay.
But if you're Moroccan with Moroccans, if you smile at someone, they might get suspicious. Oh, why is he smiling at me? I mean, if you do that with girl, you might you might get into trouble because a girl might be thinking, "Oh, I think he's into me."
Yeah.
But here it's totally different. Like when I go to hostels and like a girl smiles at me, I don't take it that way anymore because I know it's a thing in Asia.
It's just
that people just smile.
Just smile. Yeah.
Yeah. So big difference. Yeah.
What are the biggest cultural differences between Morocco and Southeast Asia for you?
Like transgenders or ladyboys.
Right.
In Morocco, we don't have that.
Right.
It's very rare, So, like, if you go like from a country like Morocco or like maybe a more strict country to Thailand, not having any background or anything like that. So you can see that if you go to Cultivating Road, for example, you might find ladyboys dancing. So you might be shocked.
Course.
You might get a shock.
Yeah, yeah. Damn.
So for me, when I saw it, I don't know, I felt normal.
Yeah.
But for some other travelers, coming from, Muslim countries, for example, they might need some time to get used to
adjust.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. that must have been insane for you.
Might be traumatizing.
Yeah.
And there is something funny also. I'm not sure if you noticed it if you were in Thailand before.
Yeah.
But some people they literally carry their kid in their shoulders and they go to Council Road or
this is something we've discussed. Is like, so we'll be sat at one of the bars outside. It's 1 a.m. You can hear 6 different songs. It's absolutely booming. The street is completely crowded, and you can just see a kid above everyone else's heads because it's on some dad's shoulders, and you're just like, you're on Koh San Road at 1 a.m. Like you said, like there's strippers everywhere, there's prostitutes everywhere trying to grab you, there's people selling shit, balloons. Oh, it's fucking crazy, but you'll still see kids just above everyone else's head.
Yeah, I really hope the kid doesn't remember that after years from that moment.
Yeah. Koh San Road is crazy.
So crazy.
It's great. It is good for a couple of nights. It's good for a couple of nights. I mean, the music is difficult, so it's don't actually into that kind of music. But when you're walking along, you are just being haggled the whole time you're going through, whether it's to eat scorpions or get into a bar.
laughing gas,
like the tarantulas, crocodile. But it's fun. It's definitely an experience.
Yeah.
Like, you can't walk through that road and be bored. There's no way. Like,
no
there's
way.
far too much stimulation.
Yeah.
Far too much stimulation going on. So that makes it fun. 100% makes it fun. We ended up doing quite a bit of time there, to be fair. We were in Bangkok for about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Far too long. But we were waiting around for someone else who's coming out travelling, and they were getting to Bangkok. So we decided, we sort of thought about going outside and doing some bits, but by the time we'd been there for like a week or so, we decided we might as well just stay now. So I did like a bit of work in like one of the hostels there in Revolution, which was pub crawls, on Koh San Road. Just every night till fucking 4, 5, 6 a.m. Like in dude.
So
insane.
fucking crazy.
It's crazy. That week is a blur. Like an absolute blur. Like it was drinking to keep going.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, yeah, it was fun. But it was a long time getting drunk after that. It took a while to get drunk after that again. I got it all out of my system in about 6-7 days. I was like, yeah, that's
Wow.
me. That's where we went then to the islands, and then it was just paradise and just chilled the fuck out.
Just chill.
Yeah, no drinking, nothing, just enjoying paradise. Yeah, dude. Did you do the islands? We always talk about the Thai islands on this.
I went to
podcast.
Phuket,
Yeah.
but like I was there for like 5 days, but the weather was not that great, and a couple of boats drowned. You know, those tour boats.
Really?
They take you to Krabi and all those islands.
Yeah.
So I just straight went back to Bangkok. So, and I decided, you know, after Vietnam, I'll go back, and then the weather is gonna be much better.
Much better.
The water will be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I mean, to be fair, do you know you could get a you can get the night ferry between Bangkok and like Koh Tao or Koh Phangan, I think, or Koh Samui, something like that. One of the 3 islands out there you can go from Bangkok to, and there was 2 ships. And when I was in Koh Tao, the scuba instructor was telling me they had an instructor that worked at the shop who was on the boat going between, and it started sinking during the night, like pitch black during the night. Essentially, they'd overloaded the ship, so they had like a nickname for the ships, and they called them slave ships. Slave ships, because everyone's supposed to have like a bed on the floor, but they overcrowd the ships, so people end up sleeping side by side. So that's why they like started nicknaming like the slave ships, and and so it's overloaded. So obviously far too much fucking weight on the thing, and it starts going down in the middle of the night. And so the instructor's on there, and obviously came back and like told this story. They're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like it wasn't like they just left or anything like that. And the staff on the boat didn't know what they were doing. Dang. They had no idea what they were doing. So it was so the instructor took it upon himself to like start finding the life jackets, giving out life jackets, telling people they need to get the fuck off the boat, like, and the staff on there literally were just then panicking, didn't know what to do. So fucking fortunately the instructor was on there, and no one died, but it was in the middle of the night, in the absolute middle of the night, and apparently, so when they obviously like, you know, they've been rescued on shore, obviously all their belongings, everything is gone, because they kind of wanted to, the local authorities wanted to keep it under wraps. They basically were just asking the value of people's stuff and giving them the money for it, and that's just how they kept it under wraps. Because I hadn't heard anything about it, like absolutely nothing. You know, quite a big ferry, like especially like a popular night ferry between Bangkok and the islands. You'd think you'd hear about it, especially traveling, but didn't hear anything. So I would have been there like, yeah, I need 6 MacBooks. I've got 2 film cameras, everything.
Yeah. I mean, waking up to that in the middle of the night, you could have a heart attack or something.
Dude, yeah. That would be terrifying.
Luckily, there were like life jackets in there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Thank God.
And I'm guessing life rafts, but I didn't actually fact check the statistic because it was definitely on social media, so I probably should check. Unless you want to have a quick look now, Finn. Of course, that's fine. But I think, it said like 50% or 40% of lifeboats sink.
No, not really. I mean, just during that period of time, like, I think three boats. The others actually made it.
What do you mean? For as in on the steep?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the Phuket, like when I was there.
Oh, when you were there. No. I was just saying in general, like statistically, 50% or 40% of lifeboats sink, which is crazy. Wow. Absolutely crazy. I am gonna have to double check that. But
that's a big percentage.
A huge percentage. I hope it's true. I've just brought that fact up and let it on. I saw that on social media, so you know. Yeah, dude. Have you had any issues traveling? You got any
issues like
horror stories? Like we interviewed some girls, like where they had some issues with like a boat, like the boat's propeller came off.
No, I mean the only issue I had was in like the worst experience was like I had $1,000 in cash in my hotel and it got stolen by the housekeeper.
Really?
Yeah.
And I take it you couldn't do anything.
No, I actually went to the police and told them that it was stolen from here.
Mm-hmm.
Came there, checked the cameras. There were no cameras in the room, obviously, but
yeah. But surely you can see which one of them went in.
I knew which one exactly because she lied. Because when I left for Malacca, for that city I told you about, she knew that I was traveling, and she actually took advantage of that situation.
Yeah.
And when she cleaned the room, she took it.
Yeah.
Because it was in some envelope. So when I came back and found that it was missing,
You knew it, yeah.
I knew that it was the housekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she lied about.
Was this in a hotel?
Where?
What was this in? Where were you staying?
In Petaling Jaya,
And
in Malaysia.
Was it like a homestay?
No, it's a hotel.
It was a hotel.
It's like a 3-star hotel.
So when you said this, I take it you obviously went to reception about this, like the people right there.
Yeah.
What did they have to say?
They say that, they called the housekeeper, and that's where she lied. She said that you left the window open, but I did not.
Right.
I don't even open the window because aircon is enough. It's too much noise.
Yeah.
So she lied about that. She said maybe someone, put their hand through the window and just grab the thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to, move forward with it and actually get a lawyer and stuff.
Yeah.
But I already booked my trip. So it's just gonna be.
It was gonna end up being more hassle than it was worth.
Yeah. The interesting part is the police told me that if you actually have an appointment at court and you go out of the country and for some reason you cannot go to that appointment, you can get banned or blacklisted from entering Malaysia.
Oh my goodness.
Because you missed a court date.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy.
And for me, I want to go back to Malaysia. It's going to be like my last stop before I go back to Morocco, so I don't want to do that. So
yeah.
Fine. It's a lesson that cost me $1,000. So starting from that day, I'm always very, very careful.
Much more vigilant.
Yeah, because when I went there, I had the thought that everyone is nice.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna steal anything.
People get desperate, man.
It's
people
Asia.
In desperate times, they'll, if they know you've got money.
But she was not local.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she came from some country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the only thing you do is give yourself a bit of an artificial anecdote, and just hopefully she needed it for a reason. Maybe there was a reason she was desperate to have that, but
Yeah, but it doesn't justify, to steal.
But to try and put somewhat of a positive light, because obviously you're never going to get it back.
I mean, if it goes to some surgery, fine, no problem. Hopefully,
just
some
create that
surgery
story.
or
Yeah. I think that's what Tom said. We did a podcast with a guy, and that was his creative way of trying to deal with issues like that. Was to basically just give it a background story. They needed that because their kid needed to go to hospital and needed something, and then that's his way of like just trying to shut that off instead of you going around thinking, oh, imagine if I had that extra 1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try and just turn it off.
Yeah, just try to find a way, to. Because that was then and this is now.
Yeah.
That has already happened.
Yeah. I guess it depends if you're a person who's able to just let shit go or not.
I'm that kind of person.
Yeah, if you can, then there's no need. You can just say,
for me, when something like that happened to me, I just wait, is there some time machine right now that I can use to go back in time and actually, prevent that?
About it? No.
There is not. So automatically my brain's let it go.
Yeah. Don't waste any more time and energy towards it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Live in the moment.
Of course.
I mean, the people say that thinking about the past is bad, but it's not. You have to use it as a reflection.
Yeah, what's the future if there's no past? You have to be able to look at the past.
Yeah, you have to use the past to make better decisions.
Exactly.
Which is why I love data analytics. Because you study historical data to help companies make better decisions in the future.
Yeah. So are you good at spotting patterns?
Sorry?
In data, are you good at spotting patterns?
What
would you say? What would you say your forte is? Your forte. Something you're good at.
Something I'm good at.
Yeah, so I would sort of say my forte is being able to listen. Mm-hmm. I can listen quite well. What would you say?
Is it like a personal trait or in general?
I guess either or. Either or. Like, what's the one thing? So they sort of say when you go into jobs, you sort of try and find that thing that gives you the motivation or something you're good at, whether you're a good listener, a good motivational talker, or you're a good leader. What do you think yours is? It's a tough question.
Yeah. Can you rephrase it in another way? Sorry.
Yeah, no, of course. So I don't know what the definition of forte would be, but everyone has something they're particularly good at, whether it is pattern recognition or being a leader or being able to talk complex conversations, or maybe your retention rate is really high, so your ability to learn and absorb information is really good. So therefore, like, people can, like, some people are really quick to learn things. There are some people who can play every single sport the first time they play the sport. You just have those people that are just good at, like, every sport, like at school, and it's like, fuck's sake, of course he's good at rugby, of course he's good at football, of course he's good at tennis, and they just at everything. But then that person might not be so, like, his conversation capabilities might be much lower than yours. So what do you think yours
I
is?
think for me, I think it's the ability to influence people.
Okay.
So back home, I have influenced, like, I would say 6 to 7 people to actually start the e-learning thing and start learning how to code, start learning English and stuff like that, so that they can actually have remote jobs in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I have a call with them, they're like, oh, I've been studying this, I'm in this section in the UX UI design, stuff like that. So it's all started, like, you know, with a conversation where I'm trying to, you know, show them what kind of person they can be in the future and give them the tools that they can use to actually get there. So influencing people, I think, this is like an example of something I've done, you know.
Yeah.
So like, it changes their habits. Like, instead of them watching Netflix, you know, scrolling continuously, you know,
stuck in that dopamine cycle.
Yeah, I got them into these habits of taking courses online, you know, learning English.
People trust you, and people want to follow your lead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So influencing people, I think, is
So I guess that's perfect. If you're planning on doing your own podcast and that sort of thing, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why I want to start.
This is why I like to ask this thing, because when people realize, oh yeah, maybe that's why I do the job I do. Do you know what I mean? Because people just find stuff because a lot of people enjoy what they're good at. Do you know what I mean? So I think you inadvertently then fall into your forte. Some people don't.
Yeah.
But you know, most of the time, I think you do. Yeah.
It's like providing value. Like, when you're passionate about providing value without expecting anything in return.
Yes.
You know, it's gonna, like, come back to you, like, in different forms.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you help someone, like, put them in the right path, and, like, 10 years from now they become rich, and maybe you're not that rich. So you reach out to them. You know what? You've been the reason why I am where I am right now, so I can give you, like, a lending hand. You know what I mean? So it's like you plant a tree. You help people, like, unconditionally. And then after years, you know, you can get helped by someone else.
Yeah. What goes around comes
directly
around,
or
whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And it also comes back to that, it's not always about what you know, it's who you know. So, you know, if you're someone who makes these connections, like you say, later on down the line, you've been helping them now, maybe later on down the line you need a bit of help because they've now fallen into a profession that you've helped them get in with your ways.
Exactly.
And now they can reciprocate.
Yeah. Like, if they have a company and you have a company, you can easily partner with them.
Yeah.
It's like a closed deal because you helped them before.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the intention is not to have them help you in the future. You just do it without any expectation.
Without the expectation.
Because if you have expectation, you know, you'll always be disappointed.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to stop, you know, this process of helping people.
Yeah. Because you're always expecting something in return, and then it almost feels like you're now in this debt. Like you are owed something.
Yeah. Which reminds me of a quote. Not sure if you play video games, but I have played one video game called God of War.
Yeah,
and the main character said to the boy, like, lower your and I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Lower your expectations, and you will never be disappointed.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you kill those expectations, there's lower chance of being disappointed.
Yes.
Whether in relationships, in business, anything.
Without having an effect on goals.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the thing. Expectations and goals are definitely have to be seen as different. Because otherwise, you obviously, of course, you have to be able to work towards something. But just because you have a goal, the expectation should not be that you have to meet that goal.
Exactly.
Because I do believe that your goal should always be further out your reach, just a bit out your reach, so you're always striving to keep going. it's like Matthew McConaughey has a really good way of putting it, is that his idol, his hero, is always himself 10 years in the future.
Wow.
So, a guy said, oh, what's your sort of like, who's your hero, your role model? And he said, yeah, me in 10 years. And then he saw that guy 10 years later, and he said, oh, so are you your own hero? And he said, fuck no. Now I'm chasing me in 10 years' time.
Wow.
So it never stops. And obviously goals need to be attainable to give yourself that motivation. But as long as you're moving forward, you've got the motivation. If you're doing what you want to do and you're achieving the small goals along the way to that big step, as long as your expectation isn't that you have to get there in fucking a year.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm going to hit that goal, but the expectation is I will hit it, not the expectation is I have to hit it there and then, and if I don't, then I'm not doing this, fuck this.
Yeah, which is an interesting part. I totally understand what you mentioned. There is like this idea of, whether when it comes to your goal in business or anything, you need like to stop saying I think, or like you say, for example, I think in 5 years I will, or this. Rather than that, you say I will,
because your subconscious listens to your conscious.
Exactly.
Yes.
If you say I will,
yes,
it's just a small word.
It's such a small change.
Such a small word.
But it can completely steer the direction that you're heading.
Yeah.
Completely steering. It's like like psychologists say, if you're someone who is quite detrimental to yourself, like if you have a fuck up, you say, oh, fucking, why have you done that, you fucking idiot?
Yeah.
Like, although it feels like just a quick release of anger, and it's like after it doesn't matter, yet your subconscious hears yourself. So now every time you fuck up, you now say that more and again and again and again and again, and eventually you just believe that I'm just a fucking idiot, and you won't achieve those goals because your expectations now change. Your expectation is now that you're an idiot.
Yeah, and they have these kind of people that think like that. I think they have a wrong perception of failure or mistakes.
Yes. Yeah.
Some people see it as an opportunity to learn and start from that. Some people they give up. And it's also interesting about the part that you mentioned about Matthew. There's also a kind of similar idea, like when it comes to goal achieving, which is like to believe, like the person you want to become, you believe that you're actually you're in the past. So that person is already there. So you're just making your way to becoming that person.
You're just saying the
It's
heading.
like you're convinced. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm just making my way to it.
Whether you look at that as a goal or whether you look at that as manifesting, whatever way you look at it, that is what needs to be done. Yeah. Yeah. I think that must be one of the key factors for success. Whether you're going to be a fireman or a podcaster or a singer, you always have to envision yourself being there first. Because if you can't envision yourself being there, I mean, then it's kind of questionable if that's the right thing for you. If you can't imagine yourself doing something, like most people when they find something they want to do or love, they can imagine themselves doing it. That's almost why they want to do it. And I guess we're kind of forced to do that from an early age, being in education, because you get to 16, 17, 18 and you're supposed to almost know what you want to do.
Yeah.
But you've been on this planet for less than 20 years. How on earth are you supposed to know? You have to envision yourself doing something, and just hopefully when you get there, you enjoy it.
Yeah, I think for that part, I have thought about this before, and I think I made a post about it. The best thing to do is to experiment with different things. As many things as you can, experiment even just a little. So when you do that, you can't get out of that without finding who you want to become. Because let's say you try this analysis, you try marketing, you try this, you try that.
Yeah.
At the end, you find you're like, oh, this is me.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
But if you only focus on marketing for years, and then you finally realize that it's not for you.
Yeah. It's
for me, experimenting with different things.
Yeah. That's what I sort of try and say to people. I've sort of done that myself. I've just tried a load of different jobs, and I always say try and say to people is, what is it generically that you want to get? Because if you start thinking, do I want to be a fireman? Do I want to be a dentist? It's too general. Because like you sort of say, you could have 3 ideas for something you want to do as a job, and all 3 include sitting down at a desk all day working. And then you do the first one, you go, I fucking hate working at a desk all day.
Yeah.
And now all 3 of those options are gone. So it's not always about subjects. It's about what are you going to fundamentally be doing in your day. Is it you need to be talking to people, or is it you don't want to be talking to people? You know, do you need to be moving constantly? Do you need to be with animals rather than people?
Yeah.
Do you need to be traveling, or are you happy to work from home and just sit on a laptop all day and take calls?
Yeah.
So you have to try, like you say, all these little things to get the generic stuff from these jobs to know sort of which direction you want to head in. You know, do an office job, even if it's like something quite menial, just to see if that's the sort of thing you think you can do. Because you could go and do that and find out that you fucking hate working at a desk, and then maybe all the ideas you had are now out the window, and you got to completely rethink about what you want to do.
Exactly, which is great, because you would never have known if you haven't actually experimented with that.
Yes.
So these things, it's like
Just do.
it's like walking into like a clothes shop. So you try to see, like, you try different shirts until you finally, oh, this is the right outfit for me, so I'll buy that.
Yeah, and you can also at the same time go, I love that outfit, I want to wear that, and you put it on, look in the mirror and go, that doesn't suit me. It's the same thing with jobs.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing. You can get there. I had that with sales, working in the motor industry.
Oh.
Where it was quite, I liked the idea of working in the motor industry, you know, selling cars and that sort of thing, you know, with prestigious companies. But I sort of got there and, you know, you feel good in the suit and stuff, but I just didn't, it wasn't, I could do it, but it wasn't me. It didn't suit me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could have been successful, I could have made money, but I would never enjoyed it.
It doesn't represent you.
Exactly. And it could be the same with outfit. You can love an outfit, it just doesn't suit you.
Yeah.
It just doesn't suit you.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have known if you haven't actually...
Exactly. You got to try it on, man.
Yeah, you got to try everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes if you can't have that outfit because it's too expensive, you have to go for something similar. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, just because you didn't get one job doesn't mean you can't go for something similar and still try it. I think we could stop on the clothes analogy. I like that.
Thank you.
Quite a lot. Yeah, what's your Instagram?
It's Roll with Soul.
Roll with Soul.
Yeah. Cool. And _.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll put it in the description.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you very much for being on. This has been fucking great, man.
Thank you.
It's been
a great conversation.
Fucking appreciate it.